What's up, you guys, and welcome to another video. I don't know if you can see it, but I have a huge sand right here. I was wearing my mask outside and it looks so odd, man, with two shades. But anyways, today we're here because of oh my god, freaking car gotta be so loud. Alright guys, so I'm trying to narrow down all the issues, and currently it does have a misfire on cylinder number 4. So if we count up 1, 2, 3, and 4, it's that cylinder right there. So first of all, for the most part, we should try to do the easy things first. Damn, all this leaves. So easy stuff should be we start off by just switching the coils, and we're gonna go ahead and do it. So since I do have the 4th coil with the misfire, we go ahead and switch it. So we take that one out. So I'm gonna take this one out too. So you just pull it upwards like so, pull on the cable, and now you're able to lift this up like so. And what we're gonna do is just swap this one to the other side and the other side to this side, and we're gonna go inside the car and try to erase the codes. So I already done that, and my misfire still present. So at this point we kind of narrow down that it's not the coil. However, it could also be the it could also be the spark plug. So just in this case, I didn't really see anything on the spark plug, and what I'm gonna do now is just switch the injector. I want to see if it's one of the injectors that is starting to fail, but pretty much this is free. So if we see that it does change my misfire from cylinder number 4 to cylinder number 1, we kind of narrow down that the issue persists with that injector. So without further ado, I'm gonna start getting this thing sorted. And first of all, anytime you're dealing with any type of fuel, go ahead and go to the trunk or wherever your battery is located and unplug the positive and negative. Obviously you don't want to cause any sparks. Let's say if I touch this and then there's gas outside, it would just be trouble. So let's get that out of the way. Alright guys, so I jumped ahead just a tad, but what I went ahead and did was just remove this cover in the front. I believe it has 6 screws, and just go around and look for the screws that are attaching this thing together and holding on to that thing together, whatever. Yes, so that, and then I went ahead and removed the valve cover or plastic cover, whatever you want to call it. It's just gonna be 3 or 4 screws. Let me double check. It should be 4 for my car. So that's the one. See, 4 screws. Wait a minute, there's the 5th one. Alright guys, so we know anytime we're dealing with fuel and any dangerous materials, I guess just wear your eye protection and try to wear some gloves and stuff. Whoa, these are dirty. Alright guys, so first of all, we're gonna go ahead and remove the plug from every injector. I understand it's a bit hard to see, but there's this metal piece that we have to have a picking tool right here. We just have to sort of go around it and lifting. I'm gonna try to lift it up. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I kind of pulled it up. I didn't fully remove it because I don't want to lose this little metal piece. But that's all you have to do. Just remove it from this little thing right here, and just do the same for all the 6 injectors. Alright guys, so it did take a good 15 minutes, but I got all of them out. It's simply when they're all loose, they just lift right up. You could carefully pry with the flathead screwdriver and then just give it a few prying around the whole rail. But something to keep in mind is that some of these do come off. These are the sort of retaining clips, and then just be careful not to drop them because they could easily fall, and I'm sure they'll be a pain to find. But for the most part, it's not that difficult. Just make sure those retaining clips are put in place before you reinsert all the plugs. But yeah, only 2 of them fell, and it takes a little bit of time. But yeah, like I said, all you have to do, let me zoom this in a bit. All you have to do is pretty much that metal piece is in that line, and what you have to do is get it away from that line and then just lift it up. You could either lift it up or just drop down the clip, just like I said. Don't forget to pick it up and insert it where it goes, so that way when you put it back on, it's held tight. Okay guys, so now what we're gonna do is just here you can see this fuel line, and we're gonna remove this fuel line. However, before we remove it, we go down here and you can see there's this little cover with a valve in it. So first remove this cover. Be careful not to drop it. And like I mentioned before, it sort of looks like a valve, like a bicycle valve or something, or a tire valve. And all you have to do is just grab your either a screwdriver or a pick set or something, and then put your rag right under it. And now what we're gonna do, we're gonna press in it and then get some of that pressure out of the system. So I got this little Allen wrench and I'm gonna press on it. Ooh, all that gas. So it wasn't too bad, but now when we release the actual fuel line, it shouldn't have a lot of pressure. And to remove this one, I'm just gonna put my rag right under it as well, and we're gonna press on this, and with the other hand pull on this blue tab. So it's gonna look like so. Press on the line and push back on this blue tab. There you go. That's simple. Alright guys, so now what we're gonna do is just get all these 10mm screws that go on the fuel rail. So it's 1, 2, 3 right there, and the 4th one, it's right there. Okay, so all the screws are out. So now in theory it should come right up, I believe. So I'm gonna try it. Make sure you put on your safety glasses and just carefully shake it around a bit. Okay guys, so it did come off. It took a little more strength than I wish it did, but all the seals are there. And the injector that I'm gonna be switching out is gonna be this 4th one, and I'm just gonna be swapping it because they are like $100 I believe. So just in case, I just want to make sure that the injector is what's wrong with this car. So by the looks of it, I'm just gonna have to clean them, and before I put them back, I will have to make sure there's no dirt. So yeah, I'm just gonna clean them a bit and switch this 4th one to my 1st injector and put this back on and see if the code switches to cylinder number 1. Okay guys, so just put a rag or something under because it will keep on dripping. But what I'm gonna do next, it's switch over one of the injectors. Like I said, I already removed this one, but I'm gonna show you how to remove another one. And to do so, we have this sort of retaining clip, and we just put a flat screwdriver and then slightly pull it off. And just keep note on the way all these things go, because they do only go one way, so just keep that in mind. And now to just remove it, you're gonna wiggle it and little by little it should start coming off. If you have a really thin screwdriver, you could also try to pry it upwards. Okay, so it came off, and this is the one that we're gonna put it back in as well. So to reinsert it, we're gonna add a little bit of grease, or just any type of, just a tiny bit of oil. So once, of course there's the right oil, but for our purposes, I'm just gonna be using a little bit of grease. And yeah, I'm just gonna put it around the seal, so that way when we slide this in, it doesn't really rub against the metal completely dry, because if it does, it will more than likely damage the seal. If you want to purchase new seals, you could do that as well, but in this case we're just gonna get a little bit of grease and slide it in carefully. Let me get that real quick and I'll get back to you guys. Alright guys, so now we're gonna go ahead and place the injector in, and I did already put a little bit of oil so we don't damage the seal. and we're gonna slide it in until it gets to this little groove right here. Make sure you leave that free so we could put in the retaining clip. So slide it in, and you see that thing right there? Don't push it all the way, hold it about there, and then this one should slide right through it like so, and now it's in place. And also make sure it's in the correct site, so that way you don't have to remove it and put it one more time. What we're doing is we're going to put it in place, and we just go ahead and press it down a tad with the oily injector so it slides in a lot easier. And just be careful, take your time, no rush, and push them down to the best of your ability. Once they're in, you can really tighten them there with the screws, so don't worry too much about it not sitting all the way in. Just make sure they're lined up, and put back the 10mm screws, and with that you should be good to go in terms of the fill rail. So all the screws are in, and now as well as the clips that go around the plug. And pretty much right now what we're gonna do is just push it in, and hopefully if all the injectors are lined up, you should slide right in. If not, you might have to wiggle it here and there. And it looks like they all clicked in. Now we're gonna do the same thing but backwards. Make sure that clip is inside. In my case, I'm going to leave them just like so, because I'm just testing the car and making sure the injector is well. But for the most part, the other stuff should be normal. Just backwards, the same thing. I'm gonna put in this little plug, tighten it all the way. This fuel line just slides right in. Make sure it clicks like so, and just wiggle it and make sure it doesn't come off. Like it's not coming off. Make sure all plugs are in super tight. Make sure, not super tight, but make sure the screws are tight. And from here we're pretty much done. You could just go ahead and test out the car and make sure that's the issue. If it's not the issue, you didn't waste any money. You just spend a few minutes, like 30 minutes, trying to figure out what the issue. So now what I'm gonna do is just plug in the battery, and I'm gonna go ahead and erase the codes. Once I start the car, I'm gonna see if the misfire switches from cylinder number 4 to cylinder number 1, which was the cylinder I switched the injector from. Okay, so let's get the battery plugged in and see what happens. We removed the fuel from the fuel rail. More than likely it's not gonna start right away. And a quick tip is to put in the key and put it into ignition. And we could also see if there's any pressure pushing any fuel out of the rail, just to test for leaks. Okay, I don't see any as of now, but now I'm gonna start the car and see if there's any changes. So hopefully there's no changes on that sense. And before I started, I almost forgot I have my tiny scanner that works perfectly to erase codes. I'm gonna go to engine and erase codes. Okay, now carefully I'm gonna turn on the car and right away go to the front and just look for any leaks. So I'll turn it on. It still runs a little crappy like it did before, and I don't see any leaks. Nope, no leaks. So now let me check if the code moved to cylinder number 1. Hopefully read codes. Please do so. Come on, man, show me what you got. Hell yeah, cylinder number 1. So whoop, it is the injector. So I'm gonna go grab one right now, and bam, forget about this bad boy. Turn this beast off, and now let's go to where to buy an injector. Damn it. Mine, and there's the one that I just purchased. I'm just gonna swap one of the injectors, and see if I could get it to work properly. If I see that they're bad too, I'm just gonna go back. But for the sake of this video, since I don't want to buy the seals right now, and I think these look in good conditions, or I could recycle this one that looks good right here, and I'm just gonna try to just swap them out and hopefully it works. Okay, so we're gonna be erasing the codes. And now here's the moment of truth. Let's start it. Okay, seems like it's no longer shaky. Just a tad. I'm gonna go ahead and read the codes. Whoa, a little overexposed there. No leaks. Okay, it's sounding good. Yeah, so I think that did it for me, guys. Alright guys, so for now that seems to be it. We're just gonna go ahead and get the car cleaned up. Those are the main biggest issues, and if I'm able to sort them out, I'll be so happy. But for now, that's gonna be it for the video. If you want to keep up with the build, just try to subscribe and see what videos come up in the future. And if you have any questions, as always, leave them down below and I'll be more than happy to answer them. See y'all in the next one.